ask questions. Let me first of all talk to Commissioner Cloud and Director Neslin. Director Neslin, you didn't say what percentage of your wells would be hydraulically fracked. Would either one of you have just a rough estimate as to the percentage in the state of Oklahoma and the state of Colorado that would be using that technology in their fracking?
In Colorado, it would be substantially all wells.
Okay.
In Oklahoma, it'd be much the same. We've had 185,000 active wells, and 100,000 of them have been fracked. But the newer wells that utilize the horizontal drilling are all hydraulically fracked.
Oh, okay, and I just remind this panel up here, for those who weren't here in my opening statement, that we initiated the very first hydraulic fracturing in Oklahoma 60 years ago. So we know something about it. Over the past few weeks, there's been a lot of focus on the disposal of both flowback water and frac jobs and produced water from oil and gas wells, especially in Pennsylvania. Could you tell us how this water is disposed of in your two respective states, kind of briefly?
Certainly. In Colorado, a majority of the water is recycled and reused. If we're talking about the end disposal, final disposal of the water, about 60% is re-injected deep underground in permitted underground injection wells. About 20% is evaporated. About 20% is discharged to surface waters under state water quality permits that do contain environmental and health-based standards.
In Oklahoma, we recycle most of the frac water, but when it's used up, we have 10,500 injection wells that we put the water down, the fluids down in.
So it's roughly the same as they're doing in Colorado then. How do your agencies respond to and investigate groundwater complaints? Director Neslin, in your agency recently investigated, I think it was in southern Colorado, some complaints. Will you tell us how you do that?
Certainly. This is the event I mentioned that led to the hearing this last February, and a couple of things about this are important. We got a complaint. We had an inspector on site in 16 hours collecting samples for laboratory analysis. This inspector has a PhD in chemistry and 25 years of experience. He spent over 40 hours investigating the alleged contamination, worked with other members of our staff, including our engineering staff, wrote a 30-page report documenting his investigation and the various types of analysis that were used as part of that exercise. When the landowner was dissatisfied with the conclusion that the staff had drawn, which was that there had been no impact from hydraulic fracturing, he received a full hearing, half-day hearing before our commission within 60 days. So, and then our commission unanimously affirmed the staff's findings. So I think in terms of the rigor of the analysis, the timeliness of the work, and the transparency of the process, this compares very well.
Okay, and about the same in Oklahoma?
It is about the same, Senator. We have an extensive field staff that are all over the state monitoring the wells and the well activities.
Okay, and then just, I only have about 30 seconds left. I'd like to have each one of you talk about new technologies that are coming along. Is there a procedure? I'll just confine this to Commissioner Cloud. Any kind of a procedure where you investigate these new technologies and what possible dangers could come up and what you do to mitigate these?
As I said, our staff is on top of it all the time, and we have a complaint division that if anybody has a complaint like was outlined in Colorado, we're 24-hour accessible, and we try to stay on top of every single instance.
Thank you very much. And Dr. Vos, you made several comments about the levels, risk levels and that type of thing. There's a very negative article in the Pittsburgh Tribune Review yesterday that I'm sure that you have read by now, and I'd like to ask that that be made a part of the record.
Without objection, it will be included in the record.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.